Day or happy hump day. This is Johnny Girardi, DataSelf founder and CEO. We'll talk about today the new release of Tableau and DataSelf Analytics. That's version 10.3. We have many clients joining us, as well as some resellers and some prospects. Many of you clients are using some older versions. I'll be focusing primarily on the latest, updates available from 10.3. Let's go through the agenda. So the first part of the presentation, I'll talk specifically about the improvements, popular improvements on the Tableau engine. As you might know, Tableau is the front end of DataSelf Analytics. We have an OEM relationship with Tableau. And the feature I'm going to cover here is what is the most popular among our clients. And I'll also talk about some features that are not so popular. And I'll be showing references to how you can get more information from it. At the end, I'll talk about the latest templates we have released. So let's get started. The first main feature is about automatic query caching. That's a kind of tacky name. In a nutshell, it's speed. If you're using our framework, DataSelf and Tableau, sometimes you might realize that when you open a query early in the morning, the query might run slowly. But when you open the second time, or when someone else opens after the first user, it runs very fast. And that's pretty much because of the cache. It's a feature of computers. And what Tableau has done now is created a feature that allows Tableau server to automatically warm up the cache, meaning queries that are popular, that have been used frequently. If you go as an admin, if you go to Tableau server on settings, general, workbook performance, after schedule refresh and click this checkbox, what will happen is that every time the Tableau refreshes, the Tableau extracts, it will check what queries have been used the most recently, usually in the last week. It would automatically run them as part of the refresh. So when a user will open one of these queries for the first time, it will run much more quickly. Overall, with DataSelf, we tell people that queries should run in less than 10 seconds. If they take more than 10 seconds, many users will not wait. So this feature will be very helpful to allow users to run queries again within seconds, regardless of how much data you have. I think most of our clients will really benefit from using this new functionality. Make things really fast for all queries at the very beginning of the day. Next, one of the most cool things that Tableau is doing is bringing more and more functionality to the web and mobile user interface. So if you have access to the mobile interface, and you are a power user, or publisher user, or interactor, as some people call, now you can do a lot more without the desktop client. And I'm going to be showing these features that are new and available. So let me switch gears here. And I'm going to go to the web portal of my presentation. And I'm going to open one of these workbooks to show the new features. And I'm going to open the first view. So far, I'm just opening a view or a report in the web server. Now, if I have the edit button, again, if I'm a power user, publisher user, or interactor, I can click the edit button and go into the edit mode, where I can change the query dramatically. I can change things. I can create new reports, dashboards, and stories. So I'm gonna show you now in the edit mode these new 10.3 features. The first one is format numbers more easily. So what is that about? If you want to change how a measure is being showed, you can come on a query, come and where the measure is being showed on the query, click the drop-down list here, the little arrow pointing down, and choose Format. And right here comes this very user-friendly way of choosing different ways to show the data. Point and click, you change, and you get a different result. Let's say I'm going to see currency, but I don't want to see decimals. There it is. Maybe you want to see in thousands. Very easy to change your format, and I believe will be very popular among many people. Let me open another query that shows the same idea. So here I'm seeing a plot of numbers on a chart. So I go to the measure per se. I click the arrow pointing down, choose format number, and then I can say, hey, I'm going to show with decimals, and then it changes automatically the formatting. So this feature, I believe, will be popular. It's focused on a specific report or dashboard. You cannot change the data source formatting. It's just how it looks on a given report or dashboard. Next is drill up on continuous axis. That's a new feature as well. Before, if you come to a continuous axis like this one and you click on it, you could only drill down. Now Tableau also enabled the drill up, meaning if I'm on a monthly level and I click drill up, I go to the quarter level, so quarter. If I click and choose drill up, you go to the year level. So this feature before, you could only drill down. Now you can also drill up. Kind of silly. I thought they would be coming up with this drill up much sooner, but better now than ever. Next feature is about maps. So here's a map, and with older versions, you couldn't edit much of the options available on a map. Now you can come to map, and this map options is the new feature. So you click on it, and you can decide which of these controls you want to show and make available for users. So sometimes this is very handy, very useful, and this is a new feature. So again, go to Maps and click Map Options. Create beans. Beans for a certain type of analysis is very helpful. For instance, suppose you want to break down all your revenues in beans. Every $10, you have a lot of small transactions and large transactions, and you see how many of transactions is into different buckets of your measure. Before, to create beans, you'd have to use desktop. Now on the web, you can choose a measure, choose create, and choose beans. So here comes the little wizard, revenues bean, and then let's say I want to see break in beans of $10 in this case. I could ask the tool to suggest how many beans to break up, but in this case, I'm going to choose beans of $10 each. So when I create this bean, now I have a revenues bean here that is being created automatically. And if I drag to my rows, so let me sort descending. So what this is doing is, from all invoices from revenues from $0 to $10, I have about 320,000 records. From $10 to $20 is about 247,000 records. Let's just put the number of records as labels, so probably a little easier to read this. So how many records I have for transactions between $7 and $80? 24,000. So pretty much creating revenue, beans from measures was only available on desktop. Now is also available on the web browser. Sometimes, as a web user, you ask your business analyst to create some new data source, publish, a workbook that you're asking, some reports and dashboards. The business analyst, builds this new data source, publish to the server the workbook, and you go there and you find the information and you get what you asked. But then, as a power user, you want to create some additional views, and maybe you want to share with other people and let them create their own, reports out of this new data source. And let's assume the business analyst forgot to publish this data source to the server. So before this version, you have to call the business analyst and say, hey, can you please publish this new data source to the server so everyone can have access to? Now, we're empowering more the end users. They can come here and let's say that this data source here is not published to the server. They can come to the data source that is not published and click Save. When you click Save, this data source now is going to be published to the server, and everyone that have the same rights as you, other users, will also have access to it. As you can see here, this data source is being published. It has a little Tableau square. This one is an embedded, not published yet. But when I click Yes here, I'm going to convert this inside of the workbook data source into a published data source to server. I'm going to click Yes. And that's it. Now this data source is available to all users with the same rights as you. They can create their own reports and dashboards with the new published data source. So new feature, also exciting for some situations. Next feature, distribute evenly in dashboards. This is very popular as well. How many times you are building a dashboard and you get something like this? You have different sections of the dashboard that they're not evenly distributed, and you want to get them right. So you start, to put visually. And if you are very picky, and I'm very picky, sometimes you spend quite a while just trying to get all of these things pretty well evenly distributed. So Tableau created a new feature that allows you to evenly distribute different objects within a container. If you don't know what a container in Tableau is, I recommend you to come to this, links here that have a lot of explanation about how containers work. Anyhow, in containers, what you pretty much do is you select one of the objects within a container, you click the arrow pointing down, and then choose select the whole container. So in this case, this whole container has these 3 different objects, could have as many objects as you want. And when you go here now, click the arrow and choose distribute evenly, what it does is it automatically puts the same size for each object. So they are evenly distributed. This is useful for objects like charts, grids, and whatnot, but also for, let's say, filters. Sometimes also with filters, it's a pain to resize them and you get the wrong size, and you can spend quite a little bit of time trying to get all of these things properly distributed. The same thing here, you choose the container and then you click distribute evenly, and the tool will automatically split the size of all of the objects properly. So if you do a lot of dashboards, learning how to work with containers and take advantage of the new distribute evenly feature will save you a lot of time. The last main feature for web authoring that I think is really good for many of you, if you're using stories, now stories is also available on the web browser. You can create new stories before you couldn't. So now you just come here, there's this new button for stories. This is new sheet, new dashboard, new story. So click this button to create a new story. I'm going to call, first step of my story. I'm going to add one of these queries. So double click one of the queries. And then let me make this just a little smaller. And let's add a second step. So one more step. I'm going to put this particular query here. This would be cost of sales. And I'm just going to create another one and put the map. So I just created a story. I'm going to call this story my new story. And stories are like in PowerPoint. As you're browsing them, you can come here and just use this to go from page to page. You can change the layout to show numbers instead. You might have several steps to tell your story. And in 10.3, there's also the dots approach. Dots was not available in 10.2. So pretty much, makes the whole view more streamlined with less real estate being used by the navigation capabilities. So creating stories is a new functionality that was not available on the web, and now is also available on the web. So these are the main new features for web authoring. Again, we will be sharing later a recording of this webinar as well as this PowerPoint, and these links can give you more information about some of the functionality covered on each of these slides. Tooltip selection. Tooltips can be very helpful, very informative. In what Tableau has added with this new release, it is amazing for certain type of analysis. Let me show you how you can use Tooltip to see how related data is performing. I'm going to go to a Tooltip example. So in this example, what I have is I have a scattered chart where for every dot in this particular scattered chart, I have revenues on this axis, quantity sold on this axis. Each of these circles, they have a different color showing how profitable that particular transaction was. And every single circle is represented by a product in a given state to a given customer. So every circle is one product in a given state for a specific customer. How much was the total sales, how much was the total quantity, and how profitable that particular set of data is. This is what this particular chart is showing. And on the right, we have the same information by product, by ship to state, customer, profitability, quantity sold, revenues, and here's the total for everything that is being showed. This is just like a regular dashboard showing this information. And the story behind this dashboard is actually the company using this particular dashboard. They were on a mission to increase profitability. So they want to move, things out of the below 40% more into this range of the 50 to 70%. So, below 40 is bad. Yellow is still okay. This is the target, and this is kind of awesome, but it's kind of rare to get very profitable. And this is a real case scenario, and the company was actually starting, in order to improve profitability, they started to first working on sourcing of products, trying to make them more profitable, just product pricing, whatnot. And then they were working with account managers for every territory, every state, to make the sales with less discounts and whatnot. And then specifically, they also want to see the customers, because some customers, they were larger, they had to give more discounts. So they went in this phase approach of, we need to improve profitability by product as price list and sourcing, by state and the shipping, whatnot, and eventually by client. Now, let me show how this new feature in Tableau can make the analysis of this dashboard so much insightful. So as a manager, I come here and I look and say, hey, wow, I still have a pretty large sale that is, red below 40%. So, this is no new. When you put the mouse over that particular data point, it shows that in this little pop-up, this is the product, the ship to state, the customer profitability, quantity, revenues. All of the information is known new feature. If I click on this particular data point in this particular dashboard, and this is what the company was doing before, you can still drill down. So now I can see exactly in these details what this information is about this particular data point. So far, everything is the same as in prior versions of the solution. What I'm going to show you now is how I can, in this particular view, use the tooltip selections and start to see how we are performing with related data. In this example from this company is very informative because, they say, hey, look at this. This is the product that this particular data point is showing. Am I having an issue with this product? is this product still not so profitable across the board? Without 10.3, I would have to create filters, additional dashboards, and reports to see that perspective. Is this product the problem? Now with 10.3, I just click on, instead of this pop-up, I click on the product, and what the tool does now is filter the whole dashboard in this case to show how well this product is doing. So most of the sales are green. They're doing pretty well. You see, profitability is pretty high, except, for that particular transaction still low. So it's not the product. The product is not a problem. Okay, so what else could it be? I go back to my tooltip, and let's see if by state. So I click state. Now what happens is I'm filtering this view to see if in state I'm having low profitability. Actually, profitability by state is not that great. And I could see here in more detail what's going on and see if it actually is an issue with the state. Let's go further. Let's go now go for the customer. And if I click the customer, now I'm filtering the view to show all sales for this particular customer. And in this particular example, that's where the real issue is. This is a really large client, and the profitability for this client with all the, the sales is about, below 40%. I can see the revenues, the quantity sold, and I can see individually all products by state and how much I sold. So this new functionality of being able to go and choose these things inside of the tooltip can be very helpful, very valuable when you want to see how related data is performing. And this feature is available for anything that you have a tooltip. Can be grids, can be charts, can be maps, anything. And if you want to know more about it, you can go to the link at the bottom here. Next, latest data presets. This feature is helpful, especially when you're working with data that is not necessarily related to today, right? Sometimes you have data sources that bring data that is old, days old, weeks old, months old, or maybe data that is in the future, like when is the last expected shipping date from your orders? You don't know if it's this month, last month. It's just like the latest. And before version 10.3, seeing the latest date was, you have to do a little bit of massage and understand how to use the right features to get the latest date. Now it's so much easier. This feature is only available in filters using the desktop. So what I'm going to show you here now is I have here a sample database where I have all descending orders. So I have at the top of this list the latest date. So 2017, July, and the latest date is July 28. And then, just showing that it goes back to older data. So if I only want to see the latest data available, what I do is I take this is invoice date. I take invoice date, drag and drop into my filters, select any of these time buckets. Let's say I want to select month, day, and year. Click next. And now I can choose this new checkbox. This is the novelty. Filter to latest date value when workbook is open. So click this one. And I think I have to refresh my data source here. Let's see if that fixes it. There you go. So when I click OK now, what's going to do is going to show me only the last date. Whatever happened the last day. It's not today, not yesterday, it's the last date. Now let me do it again to show a variation. Drag and drop. I'm going to select now month and year. And what's going to happen is in my sample database, the last month and year is July. So when I click OK, it's only going to show July, nothing else. So this is a new feature, very helpful when you're trying to find the latest date in a data set, regardless of what the data is. Alerts. This is I think after performance, better performance, I think this is the most important functionality. I personally have been waiting for so long, and finally it's here. And it's an amazing tool. And every time the Tableau does something, they always focus on self-service. And this alert functionality is really focused on people being able to create their own alerts, consume their own alerts, manage them, also allow administrative people to manage in bulk. So being self-service and being easy, it's very important, and they've done a great job. I know a lot of other alert tools out there in this market. In most of them, they are very IT driven. Business people have to tell IT what they want. If they want to change the criteria, they want to change the amount that the trigger is going to be sent. Everything they have to ask someone else to be changed. And frankly, that's not useful. That's not very practical because business change too often, too quickly nowadays. So the main idea of alerts is when a business person or a group of people decides that a metric is critical, but they only want to know when this KPI, this metric, when above or below a certain threshold, they want to be notified, alerts is very critical. So they don't need to go to the report. They don't need to go to the dashboard. They will receive an email, an alert telling what happened. Is this functionality? It's very easy to set up new alerts. It's just 3 steps. Select an axis, click alert, choose sending condition, and you have to be sure that you set up the alert on what is called charts with a continuous axis. These are some tutorials how to learn about them, but let's see it in action. Go to alerts. And this is a very simple example of a dashboard. Suppose I'm a user that I access this dashboard, and I decided to, hey, I actually want to receive an alert when the profitability goes above or below a certain threshold. So what I have to do is I select the axis. So I'm gonna select the profitability axis. I click the alert icon, and then I can choose when to be notified. Let's say maybe when the profitability goes above 54%. And I can say as above, below, equal, just select the condition and make a subject, GP alert. And how often you want to receive this alert? Just select different options. Let's say only once, the first time it happens. And then who's going to be receiving? Just myself. Or maybe you want to also add other users that are available in the system. And then you create the alert. And that's it. Now, every time that condition is met, in this case, I'll receive an email like this. So this is an example of the email I will receive automatically in my inbox. It comes with a screenshot of what the dashboard is. It shows where I configured the alert and all the little piece of information. Now, again, being self-service is very critical. So if I receive this alert here on my email, I can on the email click and edit the alert. Maybe I want to change, the criteria. Or suppose that I forward this email to someone else, and that person, wow, I also need this alert. That person would just click add me to this alert, and once that person does it, boom, that's it. Next time this alert happens, I will receive, and that person will receive as well. Completely self-service, no IT involved. Or maybe, hey, I no longer need this alert. I don't care. I can get out of it. So I just, myself, I click, I'm out. Or I want to change the alert or change my alerts. So I click manage my alerts. Then the tool goes back into my profile, all the alerts that I have available. Let's say I want to come here and edit this alert. Right there, I can say, hey, I actually want to increase the threshold to 0.60. And click Save Alert, and that's the alert is saved. If you want to see your own alerts, if you're the admin, you want to manage all alerts from everyone, there are different ways of doing this. if I want to manage my own alerts, I can also come to my name, just click Content, and go to Alerts, which is a new feature available. And here you see all the alerts available that you created yourself or that are assigned to you. And it tells who the recipients are. I mean, it's a very self-driven, very intuitive functionality. Very exciting. I mean, this will be very, very helpful. And many people using some competing alert functionality, I believe they're going to be decommissioning them because I believe this new functionality, because it's so self-driven, so self-service, will make users a lot more empowered by creating, changing, and updating their own alerts. Now, also, there's so many things you can do with it. I'm showing another example here where I have a dashboard with 3 different business units, each one of them showing their own revenues and profitability. Now, suppose that I am the ABCW person. I can see everyone, let's say, but I only care about ABCW, and I want to receive an alert that is only for this section of the dashboard, not for everyone else. How can I do it? Well, right now, if I do the same thing as I did before, I select profitability and click alert, what it will do is it will set the alert based on all the data. I don't want to do that. I only want to see for ABCW. Do I have to call IT? No, this is self-service. I click ABCW and I say click on keep only. Now, this initial view, I'm focusing on only this particular data set, and I tell that this is going to be like a new view for myself, ABCW profitability. So I create this new view for myself. And now that I did that, I can create the alert. Oops, select gross profit, create the alert. And now I'm creating an alert. There is only ABCW GP alert. And that's only for myself. I'm going to select only when it happens, create alert, and that's it. So again, self-service alerts finally available, very easy to use. Anyone can do it. You can be a publisher user, you can be a power user, you can be a viewer user, you can be an interactor. If you are a user of the web server, you have access to alerts. Very exciting functionality. Again, once you get this PowerPoint, you're going to have more information. Here are some links that are very useful to learn more about it. Now, talking about alerts, sometimes there's confusion out there. You know, what is the best method to get data to business people? And now there's even alerts. So many options. Should you change everything to alerts? Actually, no. Every need has to use the right functionality. So yes, people are too busy and they don't want to go to places to find the reports and dashboard. They want to receive the information. So with the DataSelf framework and with Tableau, there are different ways to automatically receive information. One of it we just talked about is alerts. When something passes a threshold, you receive an email. So only when that happens, you receive a message with that particular report. The other way is subscription. I want to receive the same report every day or every week or every month. So you can also subscribe and automatically receive those reports and dashboards as you schedule them. Self-service as well. But you always receive, regardless of if the data has changed or not, you receive them. We also offer the automatic distribution module, which is a way where the admin person can configure an unlimited number of users to receive an unlimited number of reports on schedule. Those are not dynamic reports. They are like PDF reports. But if you have dozens, hundreds, thousands of users, and they don't need interaction, the automatic distribution is a great way to provide these people refresh report on different schedules. So these are some of the most popular ways to send information automatically to people. The other one is, hey, self-service. When you want to see something, you go to the web portal, you go to the desktop client, or you go to mobile device, you open whatever you want, you search for, and you pick and choose. So self-service is the other way to consume data. And finally is embedding these web widgets or services inside of other web applications. And I've seen many clients, inserting their Tableau and DataSelf dashboards into the CRM, like Salesforce, Dynamics CRM, or Sage CRM, SalesLogix, or maybe into their own web applications. So as people go to their job of whatever they do in their workflow, the dashboards are part of their workflow. There's no need to go to a different location. So these are options available, and alerts definitely is a new addition that I think is very helpful. This page lists other 10.3 improvements. In our assessment, they are not very popular in our client base. So if you want to learn more about them, once you get the PowerPoint, you can go through each of these links. You can see the whole list also at the bottom of this list here. Let's talk about some news with the DataSelf new templates. Core financials, which is financial analytics, payables, and receivables. We currently have more than 1,700 total reports and dashboards available for each one of them. Financial analytics is the latest we have added, and financial analytics goes way beyond profit and loss and balance sheet. Yes, it covers profit and loss and balance sheet, but allows people to do ratios of financial metrics, wage expenses, admin expenses versus gross profit or revenues or net profit. A lot of different ways to slice and dice your data this year, last year, quarter to date, and whatnot. So very important functionality. We also have our distribution package revised and improved now with more than 5,000 reports. That's for the KPIs covering inventory, purchasing, sales, and sales order analysis. And on the CRM side, there's more than 1,800 KPIs covering account, activity, cases, lead, opportunities. Many people still ask us, what CRM package you guys cover? Sage CRM, SalesLogix or Info CRM, Dynamics CRM, and Salesforce. Those are the 4 that we're currently covered. Now, many people ask us, gee, it's too many. I mean, there's more than 8,000 total reports and dashboards. What about them? Let me give you 3 scenarios why these templates have proven to be so valuable to so many of our clients. One of my clients, when the process came to me a couple of years ago, and he told me, Johnny, back then we have about 5,000. You have these 5,000 reports, but I don't care. I need 20 reports, and I'm sure you don't have them. I kind of cracked up and I said, that's a good point. Yes, for many clients, they're all custom reports. But throw me one. Let's see if we have. Well, his business is a distribution business, and he told me that he needs to look at a moving window of 4 months, looking at average sales by product. So in 4 months, the average sales by product in a moving window. And I said, well, we have moving window averages by sales by product. Let me see if we have. So I looked out of the box and I found for 3 months, for 6, and for 12. So he told me, I told you you don't have my, and you need for 4. And I said, you're right. I told you I probably wouldn't find it, but let me see if we can change it. In less than a minute, I took one of them, the 3 month. I right click on the metric, properties, change from 3 to 4, click OK, click Save, and I told him, well, now we have 5,001 reports and dashboards, and one of yours is included. And that was it. The sale was pretty much, showing that we have a lot. The point is, these reports we're creating out of the box, they didn't come out of thin air. They came from people like you, like our clients asking for different reports and dashboards. And every time we see something that is valuable for other clients, we add to the library. So you don't have to start from scratch. You don't have to do it. Hopefully it's ready or close to what you need. The second situation why we have so many is because of inspiration. Quite often, if you ask decision makers what they want to see, what dashboards they want, usually they know, yes, they're going to tell you a few, 5, 10, 20. But there's so many critical business trends in their business that they're not paying attention to yet. They haven't even thought about that. When they get to the out of the box for DataSelf and they look at some of these, they might realize, boy, yes, we need to pay attention to growth and decline and no sales kind of things. So inspiration is the second biggest value. You don't have to go to the discovery of all your metrics. Hopefully, many of them are ready in DataSelf or close to be ready, so you can get to improve your decision-making process much more quickly than if you just go by yourself. The last example is actually from one of the clients that is in this call. I'm not going to tell who the person is. I don't have authorization, but he told me, I changed the business from one company to another. I was using DataSelf before, and we need DataSelf in the new system. Can you please install it right away? And back then, I said, well, we need to make an assessment. How much it's going to cost you to install? He said, no, forget it. I just install the out of the box, no customization, no data quality. Just install as is, and let me drive the process. In my prior, experience, you, Johnny, and your team and my team were working for months to connect, to do data quality testing. I don't know what you guys were doing. You're doing something, but I'm the decision maker. I know the business. I know the threats. I know the opportunities. It's data. It's my data. If the data is bad, I have to know what data I have, so I can tell you and my IT team what you need to fix. I want to drive the process. It's my data. And that's actually a great insight. Since this particular case, every time that I sell DataSelf, or I'm talking about selling DataSelf, I tell the client, you can do 3 ways of deployment. Just out of the box, quick and easy. Usually takes hours or days to get the out of the box installed. And then you, the decision makers, will drive the process by looking at your data and telling us what we need to be fixed. That's approach number 1. Approach number 2 is, hey, given the report that you need out of the, as phase 1, we'll make an assessment and we'll get them done. And option 3 is a blend of the two. Most of the time, I have option 1, people decide to just get the out of the box and drive the process from there. Or approach 3, which is do that, but also work on getting some critical reports as soon as possible. Before, pretty much all of my sales were option 2. Assessment, estimates, and it usually take weeks to get the system on their hands. Now, rarely people ask for option 2. And that's why we have so much out-of-the-box reports and dashboards. Now, if you want to learn more about these reports and dashboards, you can go to our website, dataself.com, go to Solutions, click 5,000 KPIs. This page here shows a summary of what's available for each of these templates and reporting packages. You can click Download Full List. This will get you an Excel file that has in detail all the names of all reports and dashboards. I'm going to show you quickly. So if you come here and say, let me see my sales, you go to the sales template. Here it shows an example of how the Tableau data source will look. So with all the individual piece of information coming from all over your sales tables. And here is the detailed list of reports and dashboards. So if you click dashboards and expand, you see in detail all information of all this data. Go to financials, balance sheet, income statement, GL transactions. Here we just have a little bit of showing. Oopsie, that we have a lot of KPIs, admin expenses versus different kind of metrics, net profit, operating income, expenses, wages, budget, cost of sales, depreciation, gross profit, and whatnot. And if you click this button, you have a sample of dashboards, how they look. So feel free to do that as well. Folks, we're running almost out of time.